Good day. I'm Lucinda Gabriel, and today I want to share with you a bit about how each time I got closer to Jesus, Satan showed up. So, a few people have asked me to do a video about this, and this week I will not be doing a live video because I won't be available. But so I thought I would do this anyway to kind of give you an idea of how each time I got closer to Jesus, Satan and his demons showed up to lure me away. Now, Derek Prince is, I believe, is a pastor, teacher. Anyway, he has wonderful books out there about demons, and he says that the demons has three main mm, ways that he comes after us. The first thing he does is tortures us and torments us, and I don't know if you've noticed in your own life, but um, he's always pulling us into sin. If you're not saved, he's always trying to pull you into sin, keep you a slave of sin, addicted or whatever. The second thing he does, he tries to keep you away from Jesus. And the third thing is when you finally find Jesus and become saved, he tries to keep you from bringing Jesus to other people. So this is what Derek Prince says, and I really believe that. And I just want to share a bit about my own story about what happened. So we'll go back to 1994. I was in university. It was my first year. We had summer school, and it was a difficult time for me. And I was, like praying, talking to God, which I always did. And this one night I had a dream. And in my dream, I dreamt of a deceased friend of mine that visited me and said, "Don't worry, everything's going to be okay, and just follow me." And I was just, wow, I never thought about dead people before, and I thought maybe there's something afterlife, and we actually do go on. So I started to think that, and I started to speak to him. And what I didn't notice at the time was that my neighbor, a colleague of mine, um, had just given me a New Testament. So over the next month, so this was probably like end of July, so August, September, October, 3 months there, I received this New Testament, and then probably in September was the time that I started to actually read it. And by then, I was having these really strange experiences with this deceased friend of mine, and just feeling that person around me. It was no longer just in my dream; it was like really physically around me. So that lasted for a few months, and then after a while, when I stopped reading the New Testament, actually, that I think about it, when I stopped reading it because I got busy, I stopped having those experiences too with my deceased friend. So it all kind of stopped at the same time. Now, fast forward to 2003, and I was having what you call a dark night of the soul. I had everything to be happy. I had a great job and a nice car and money and everything, but I just felt like my soul was empty. I was like, life can't be about money. There's got to be more to it than this. Like, I can't believe that we're just here to make money and spend it, and there's nothing more. And so I called it to God for 3 days. And then what happened was the next day I met my my neighbor who was into Reiki. Then I met a woman the week after that was talking to angels. And a month later, I met these lovely ladies that were doing moon ceremonies. And so I assumed that God answered me. And looking back, I can see that maybe it wasn't God that answered me. Maybe it was, um, Satan. And because Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. That's what it says in the Bible. So um, I don't think people realize how Satan is. His whole purpose is to keep us away from Jesus. So every time I was getting closer, he showed up and he dragged me away into this new age stuff. So then I ended up not only believing in deceased people and talking to deceased people, There was angels and spirit guides and Reiki guides and all this stuff. So that went on for another, 10 years and or more, 15 years. And then last year when I called out to Jesus, or not Jesus, but God, because I didn't know about Jesus yet. And I called out to God in January. So January, I heard a voice, like kind of like a thought in my head, cut off your Netflix, read the New Testament. And, the third time I heard, I was like, okay, I will. And I did. And I started reading the New Testament again after so many years. And I was like amazed by what I read. And my eyes were coming open and my ears were opening, my heart was opening and things were changing in me. And I realized like a lot of things that were true that I didn't believe before. So the 1st of March, as I'm really, really, really getting close to Jesus and I pray to him for the first time, right after I pray, I sit back to meditate and I hear this big voice outside of myself and it says, "Sweet child, I'm so happy you finally found me, found the truth." And this was big. This was really big because I was living alone and I heard this voice like right here outside of myself. And then I picked up a pad of paper and I wrote down what I was hearing. And then the voice went on and on and on and on. And I wrote this down. And then the next day, the same thing happened. And I wrote again the next day and the next day and the next day. And it went on for like, I don't know, 40 days, month and a half. And I ended up having, kind of like a book, 200 pages. And it took me a while to figure this stuff out. But looking back, I can see now as I was finding the real Jesus, the false Jesus showed up. And he wanted to lure me away again into his world. This is Satan again. Satan, disguises himself as an angel of light. And he's also showing up to people as a false Jesus. And how do we know the difference? Well, if the Jesus that you're believing in is making you feel special, because you know something more than somebody else, or you had a revelation, or anything that pumps you up, like really you have to be extremely careful. Because, I felt when I received this book, hey, wow, I was a chosen one. I was chosen to receive this information and I was going to share it. But there was still something about it that disturbed me because I knew that the New Age people would believe in the way that I received it because they were open to that. They wouldn't like the message because it was kind of borderline like biblical and stuff. And then I had the Christians on the other side who I kind of felt like, I'm not sure. I wasn't convinced that they would like the way that I received it. Would they believe it? Although the message was okay. And so anyway, I put it away for maybe 6 months. And finally, when I took it out in January this year, I read the first couple of lines and I knew it wasn't from God. This was not from the real Jesus. And I prayed about it and I asked about it. And I said, well, what do you think, Lord? Is this the truth? Is this from you? How do I know the difference? And what I clearly heard him say was, you would not want any of us to publish a book kind of saying that it's from him, where people would go to this book for answers instead of going to him. You understand what I mean? Like my book that I received last spring was these tiny little chapters, about 4 pages each. And, every chapter was, something about um, forgiveness. And it was as if Jesus himself was speaking to you. And really, that's what it was. I was taking dictation. I didn't make this stuff up. I heard a voice in my head every day. It started off outside, and then it was like inside my head every day. And I just took this dictation. And that's it. I thought like this was Jesus, and I was going to share this with everybody because Jesus wanted everybody to know. And there's a lot of books out there today that are channeled by these false Jesus, false spirits. I think there's one out there. Well, everybody knows the Course in Miracles. There's some out there in French that I know of. There's Saint Anne, Jesus's grandmother or something. These are all channeled books, and it's not from God. It's not from the real Jesus. So Jesus really specifically told me that he wants everybody to go to him. He doesn't want people to go to a book for an answer, unless it's the Bible, of course. But he would not give a book to one special person. He would want every person to go directly to him. So that's how I knew for sure that this book that I received was not from Jesus, not from God. So I'm sharing this with you because I want you to know the truth about all this stuff. Dead people are dead. Don't speak to angels because Satan disguises himself as angels of light. Don't talk to spirit guides. They're not real. None of it is real. It's all Satan. I watched a movie this week about UFOs and aliens, and I was really, really, really shocked to see. I didn't think about it, but I was shocked to see that aliens, it's really just Satan as well. Satan disguising himself again. And, every time I got closer to Jesus, dead people, angels, and guides showed up. If I was a man, probably it would have been aliens, right? So I want you to be extremely careful about that. And if you feel, called or not called, but I don't know, tempted to delve into this stuff, I encourage you to read the Bible. Read that first before you go into any of that stuff. If you're into it already, stop whatever you're doing. Pray to Jesus about it. Pray to God about it. And I strongly encourage you to get rid of everything. Because, God said in the Old Testament, if my people would humble themselves and call my name, I would hear them. I would forgive their sins, and I would heal their land and also heal them. So that's what God really wants for us. He wants to be our God. He wants to be our only God. And we need to give him all that place in our heart. So I really, really pray that, you would really hear my message today. Understand that what I'm telling you is the truth. And really, go to Jesus. Ask him yourself. If you don't know him yet, ask him. If you're real, show yourself to me, reveal yourself to me, and really strongly from your heart, because I did too. Like I said, back in 2003, I cried for 3 days, and Satan showed up. So just don't believe every spirit that shows up to you right away that it's real if it's not Jesus. And like I said, I even had a false Jesus that showed up because he was making me feel more special than anybody else. And yes, we're special. In Jesus' eyes and God's eyes, we're all special. But not special to the point of being more special than anybody else. So you have to be careful about that. So anyway, I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, please just write Lucinda M. Gabriel at outlook.com or send me a message on Facebook. And so I wish you a wonderful week. And I'll talk to you again next week. Love you. God bless. Bye-bye.